Sometimes you meet people that linger in your mind like a subtle fragrance that lingers in the air. Not only in the dating scene per se, but when you hang out with a group of friends or meet with new people in general. I'm talking about the qualities of a person which makes him or her worthy of respect. You know, a type of presence that demands your attention. And what I found to be admirable in a person has changed throughout my life. At first, it used to be looks and words. I often admired others for how good looking they are, how presentable they are, how stylish they are, how articulate they are, how smooth they are in social situations, how funny they are. And in school, we can see this everywhere, right? The good-looking guy, the outgoing guy, the funny guy. These are typically almost always the most popular guys in school. And I judged others based on what I saw with my eyes and what I heard with my ears, but that was when I didn't really know any better. And a lot of us go through this very phase once in our lives, or maybe for their whole lives even, for some people. And we are captivated and blinded by the sheer, vibrant surface layer, visible only to the eyes. And if you think about today, that is why a lot of Gen Z kids obsess over the idea of looks maxing. That is why a lot of young adults develop parasocial relationships with social media influencers. That is why K-pop became such a global phenomenon among young teenagers around the world. People are easily consumed by the glittering package the more they indulge in the facade created by mainstream media. But while some of us dwell in this space of hyperreality, stuck between actuality and simulation, some of us grow out of this phase, and we naturally learn how to not mistake visual cues for the person's actual disposition. Because there's much more. There is so much more to a person than how one presents himself. And we actually start to understand the phrase, actions speak louder than words, because they actually do. And so we start shifting our focus. There's so much more to a person than their looks. So we focus on actions, we focus on intention, we focus on character. But the problem arises when we are only able to see people's actions through a mere computer screen, right? Because who talks face to face with a human being these days when you can just text them prayer emojis and use GIFs? When we can just look at their filtered pictures on Instagram and IG stories. But the thing is, those things are not real, is it? Videos are edited, scenes are cut, context is shifted. What we see is just another distraction. It's just another product that is meant to interfere with our true thoughts. They only dull our senses of judgment. So that is no longer reliable. So if we cannot judge one's character based on looks, nor their filtered actions on social media, how would we be able to determine who to admire, who to learn from, who to include in our lives? Now, this is my conclusion. A person's true colors only start to show during hardship, only during difficult times. Because only during difficult times does a person become their true selves. When survival instincts start to kick in, this is when all your social programming, all your crafted personalities, persona, curated character, they all go out the window. Now, I'm not saying that you should start a social experiment and make your friends play red light, green light from Squid Games while you monitor them way back in the VIP seat wearing a VIP mask. That's not what I'm saying. Hardships can come from simple things, like going on vacation to a foreign country with limited resources, sharing a house as roommates, going on a hike up a mountain, going for a long walk instead of driving. Just see how people react when they are under stress, when they're exhausted, when they're stuck, when they are misunderstood. See how you yourself react when you are drained, when you are exhausted, when you are stuck, when you are misunderstood. And what I find truly admirable in a person is one's tolerance. The ability to tolerate difficult and hard situations. There used to be a time when I immediately started acting defensively the moment I was misunderstood, the moment I felt wronged by others. For my whole life, I've always wanted to prove people wrong, right? And I thought that my frustration will be dissolved only if I was able to prove everyone wrong, right? Prove to everyone that I wasn't this insignificant social outcast. Prove to them that I am worthy. And honestly, these thoughts still do exist in the back of my mind, but I'm trying not to let it take control of my whole life, because what a waste of time would it be to constantly be thinking about proving others wrong all the time, right? If that becomes my only purpose in life, how pathetic is that? Here's what we can think about. In every movie, in every hero movie, the protagonist is always misunderstood. Spider-Man, Batman, the Hulk, X-Men, even Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. They're ignored, they're cast out, they are underestimated, they are misunderstood. But one thing in common among them is that they don't end in retaliation. Revenge is not their solution. Did the heroes prove people wrong? Yes, they did. But they didn't pursue it actively. It was just a bonus that came along with saving the universe. And even during hard times, they always chose the right thing. And that's why we love them. That's why kids love them. That's why kids want to be like them. So, tolerance is sexy. And that's what I want to say.